That's recording straight away, look. Right, we're back again. So, we've done some repairs. Had some dents in the side of them. This is the VW Polo, by the way. I didn't know. We just set these up as we go along. So I just sanded the scratches out of them, sanded everything out of them. They're all textured, different. Some of them feel different and everything, so I think some are genuine, some aren't. And that is the Polo above my head, because we're underneath the ramp at the moment. So we've got these sanded out. There's a tyre there. There are all the bits and pieces. So we're going to get that primed in a few minutes, just getting stuff swapped around. We'll get that into primer and hopefully paint them tomorrow, which for you will be a split second. Got a couple of extra bits I've damaged to figure out on the front bumper. Window man will be here tomorrow as well, which is cool. And that's about it for this update. Back soon. Right, back again. I think I've sorted these. GoPro's still flickering a little bit. So we're in the booth, we've got everything. So that's kind of all ready for paint. We've just put that to one side for a minute. We've got the front bumper. Was terrible, really bad, so we've re-primed that and the splitter. Last time it was painted it wasn't done very nicely. I'm guessing it's had a couple of hits and bangs over the years, a bit of shrinkage maybe, and it's not very good. And then we've got an audience now as well, so I'll explain some more in the morning. We'll get that front bumper organised. And then, yeah, I'll explain the process tomorrow, or for you in a second. Bye for now. Right, back again, VW Polo. So, excuse that flickering by the way, it's very annoying. I'm obviously doing something wrong with this camera and something's not right. So VW Polo, we got in for a full paint. So I'm just going to show you very quickly. So we broke it all down into component form. We've done a lot of prep work, a lot of primer. I think I've already mentioned the back bumper wasn't too bad, front bumper was terrible. The insert was bad. There's a little ding, two little dings on the new tailgate, so I dealt with them. We've got new wings. I think I've already mentioned all this stuff, so I'll just show you around. So we've got the door rear quarter rub strips. These have just been stripped back and primed. These had a couple of bits in, you can see here. Wasn't too bad, the rear bumper, like I said. Although it probably looks worse now, but it will look better shortly. Yes, that's that. The flickering is very annoying. I will try and figure that out because it's a bit annoying. We've got LED lights in the booth and it's something to do with something or other, I don't know. So yeah, we had a few repairs. A little ding in this corner. Quite a beautiful example there. So that's silver. Inside and out, that one. That's going red inside and out, I think then. The whole car's going red. So the door rub strips, this one is a replacement, but it's incredibly floppy. So we've had to stick it to a piece of wood because it was almost touching the floor each side. It keeps like trying to bend right over. This one is very good. That's the front rub strip, if you like, for the front bumper. We had to completely take that back. It's no good at all. So we just cleaned everything, re-primed all of that. So that's completely in primer, that one. And then we've got the spoiler above it, which probably looks a bit dodgy in the... that might make more sense if you can see it a bit better. So try and paint them as they sit on the car, because if you hang these that way up, when you're painting, the clear coat can run off of this edge, and then you end up with a heavy spot, if you like, or a slight run right on the edge, and then you can't flat it because it's on a sharp edge, so you end up ruining the whole thing. So which is why we use them. Quite a clever bit of kit, really. Just for anybody that's actually interested in stuff like that. So these are new front wings, left and right. So although these are coated from new, what we do is we apply a wet and wet primer, which is basically like an undercoat, if you like. We let that flash off, 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Just let it, make sure it's all properly dry. If we do have to nib that, we can nib that, but hopefully not. It's not a big deal, but you can do. Make sure everything's clean again, and then basically start spraying some red. So I'm going to, because I know the lad that owns this car wants to have a nosy about what we're doing and how we're doing it, I'm going to try and show a bit more. I am still learning the camera, so bear with me. And I can show you mixing the paint and stuff like that. I just have to swap this mount over, and I'll put it in the case. I'm going to try and do some time lapse, which, judging by the flickering, is either going to look really bad or be perfectly fine. So we'll see. I'll just try and do some time lapse of the first coat of paint or something like that, and then. But I'll show you. I'll keep cutting back in and out. So when it's all coloured and cleaned, and then when it's all clear coated and cleaned, I'll just explain each process. But I will try and do a bit of time lapse. But I don't know if I'll be able to use it or not. For those reasons. But I'll be back. Right, back again. I said I'd show a bit more of a process on this one. So I've got to wet on wet them front wings, which is like a primer surfacer, if you like. So for those that are interested, we've got a stun by weight volume, ideally. So if I need a certain amount, it has to be weighed. I'll show you that. So you get the idea. So this one's wet and wet, this one's high build. You don't have to be mega precious about it, but for the wet and wet I'll try and be as close as possible, as it's what they recommend. So on a high build, NEPA's 4:1. On a wet and wet it's 3:1. So it's a lot thinner, if you like. And I keep saying Right, let me move this stuff around. Let's get that set up, hopefully. Don't know what you can see, can't see, but we'll try. So we'll start by getting a cut. These are hard cuts, I think I've explained these before. Basically have liners inside them. Take a liner, lob it in the cut. So we've got the scales here, I don't know if you can see. So when I put the cup on, it'll register the cup with the liner in. So we'll just tear that off. So I've got a couple of wings and we're painting it quite a vibrant red, if you like. Radiant red, I think it is. So we want to be doing both sides and the back as well. So the customer wants all the arch painted inside, which is what we do anyway, which is normally the issue, which is why they rot out, hence we're replacing them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix, I want 300ml, so I need 291 grams of my primer. My hardener I'll need 63.5 grams, thinner 35.1, total will give me 389 grams altogether. So if we put you there. Coffee is very important, by the way. So I have I use the Meeper. You've already seen the sheet on the wall. So all I do is I just give these a quick, I normally give them a blast with a drill slowly, give them a good scene too, making sure they're all right. There we go. Now quick double check, because I'm talking to you and I can't remember. 291. So just make sure that's clear. Pour that in there. Just for anybody who's interested, actually, we've got these in white, that's a grey, and we've got like black. We can mix and match wherever we want, really. So what we'll do is we've just gone over a tiny bit. Like I said, we're not being massively precious with it, but I'll just take a bit out there, just for what we 291. Sorry, camera. So we're about there with that, look. 291. So that's the primer, that's the solid part, if you like. So now we need the hardener 63. So for the primer, I've got like 4 different hardeners here, 5 different hardeners. But for the primer we use the H5, which is a very rapid hardener. If I can undo these things. Right, just so I can concentrate and not throw it everywhere, I'm just going to put you back up there again. You can see roughly what I'm doing anyway, yeah. So we take our hardener, so we've teared that off, 63.5. I'm not one to brag, obviously, but that was bang on. Again, not being too precious. A tiny little bit either way on that won't matter. Doesn't matter on your paint though, make sure your paint's right. You can throw the shade out, too much metallic, too dark, too light, too green, too blue. Thinner. So the thinner I use, V25, MIPA again. The V25 is like a medium. You can get fast and slow thinners, this is more medium, so everything you try and do to dry paint faster, chemical wise, will reduce its gloss level. It can pinch back up sometimes and give you more orange peel than maybe what you left it at night. So we try and use, for something like this it's fine. For our, because we're on water, so we've got a normal water thinner and we have an accelerated one, mainly for the solid colours, because they're really, what's the best word, high in solids if you like, very thick, so they need a bit more drying. That allows you to get it through dry. I believe it has a small amount of acetone in it, which allows it to dry faster, evaporate. So yeah, anyway, I'm waffling. So thinners, .1. I did forget that. I moved around again. 35.1. Beautiful. Again, important part, got to have the coffee. So we'll take that now. I'll just use that. That should always be clean, by the way. Somebody needs some room for further improvement there, isn't there? So now it's clean. We're just going to mix all that together. Making sure you get all the sides, by the way, as well, because a lot of people don't do that. As silly as that sounds. Scrape the sides. Give it all a good mix. And I'm running out of SD card by the looks of that, so I have to be quick. So you can see it's fairly thin consistency, that one. So this is only the wet on wet. So we'll go and put that on. My guns is playing up, so I'm going to have to use my other gun, which is why I'm using this liner, because it's gone into the red already. So these the lids have a filter built in. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know if it'll show. Basically that just clips in. Make sure that's on all the way around. Make sure that's nice and tight. The guns that we use the DV1 for this exercise, but it's already got the connection on there. You can see that the screen's gone off. There we go. So it's like a quarter turn thing, so you just push that in, give it a quick snap, make sure it's nice and tight. I always give it a shake anyway, because why not? And then we'll go and apply this to the wings. And I might have to swap SD cards now. So I'll be back in the booth. Right, back again. So hopefully you've just seen the wet on wet primer go down. We had to swap SD cards and the battery, so we're back again. So now we've done that, we're going to wash the gun out, make sure it's nice and clean. So you'll see beforehand, there's no point in me trying to talk in there, we've got everything going on. You might be able to hear it in the background already. I'll have to get a microphone, I think, and now the compressor's running. So hopefully you can still hear me over all this anyway. So yeah, we're going to wash the gun out. We'll give that 15-20 minutes. Go in and check it, see if we need to nib anything. Hopefully we don't. We'll go around, we'll tack cloth everything. I'll show you that as well. So we'll wash this gun out. I'll show you actually, because I can mix the paint up. So we're ready. And then once we've done that, we'll go back in 15-20 minutes, tack cloth it. And then I'll put you on time lapse, see if we can get actual paintwork. See if you can see that or not. I'm trying to think it as well at the same time. It's not good, is it? Let's wash the gun out. We're back. Right, back again. I've stand corrected. It was flash red. That's the code. So we've ordered our paint from our suppliers. So we've got a tin there. Let's see if I can get that. Let's see, we'll open it now. Bit of an orangey red, I suppose. Don't know how that shows up on camera. So basically, I mean, traditionally the car would have been painted in like a 2K paint, if you like, a solid colour. We're going to paint it in base and clear because we want to try and give it the best UV protection we can. Most of these end up either paint peeling or lacquer peeling or sun damaged, pink, multicoloured. You can never match it. You get somewhere close, but you never really match it, you know. So you end up blending everything, and then when you clear coat it looks different again. So a scratch on a door can mean painting a full side almost sometimes. So yeah, we'll get this mixed up in the tin, and then we'll decant some into one of them pots again. So with this it's sort of 50-50. So 50% paint, 50% thinner. This is a different type of base coat. Purely because we've got so much of it, it wouldn't be economical for me to do it, mix it myself off my scheme. So I order this quantity in. We've basically ordered 2.5 litres to do this job, which should be more than enough. There should be some left over, but I'll give it to the customer. With the car being really low, I can pretty much guarantee there'll be touch-ups from time to time. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. So it's better the customer has the tin, so we know what shade we add when, if there's any touch-ups or anything like that to do in the future. At least we're starting on the right path because we're using the same mix. So yeah, we'll get this mixed up then, get organised. I'm going to use the same gun again. We do have people have been slating me for this, but I have got various other guns. Now the starter, that one's far. Jet 5000. So that's got a 1.2 nib in it, which is really good setup for blending out silvers and stuff like that, which is really nice. and it's really good for the water that I use. We've got a meter water scheme, so I use that purely for that, and it's perfectly fine for that. But using this, I'm going to use a bit of a faster gun, because we want to get it sort of down in a one. It's a solid colour, so, and we're not blending anything, so we don't have to worry about any of that type of stuff, you see. So I'm going to fly in there. We'll get this mixed up. I'm waffling, and I'll explain some more in a few minutes. So you'll have to let me see where we are. See if we can get you down there a bit. So this time we are going to use a bigger cup this time. These are 800ml cups with a 800ml liner, so these are a lot bigger now, look. Because we know we're going to want a lot, so we may as well do a lot. I have showed you before, I think, as well, there is smaller options. So if we're doing like a bumper corner and we only need a small amount of paint, we'll just use one of them. Right, let's get this mixed up. Pretty good, to be honest. Anyway, you can normally tell you can normally tell because it splits. So all the toners, if you like, tinters that are in it tend to split, and you can normally tell on the top where it settles. But this one's not so bad, so this one's alright. I'll get that cleaned off. So either the wind's picked up or the dog's gone nuts. Probably the wind by the looks of that. Right, so we'll pour this. We'll aim for 50-50, but I'm always a tiny bit under. So I'll always have a little bit, tiny bit more paint, a tiny bit less thinner. But that's purely my way. Everybody will do it differently. Snap that back quick. Right, so we are going to need more paint, but I'll not show you that noise, by the way. We are in a working body shop, so expect the noise. Right, so that's that. So now that's reduced, we'll mix that again, same as what we did before. We will more than likely need more base coat, but identical to what I've just done. So give that a good mix. So I won't keep cutting the camera back in for that, if you like. So again, make sure that's nice and clean. Grab another one of these. I've already explained these, and they're filtered already. I will just say, actually, depending on what I am doing, so if I'm priming, actual proper primer, I have a different gun. Which are a lot wider nozzle, and with that I would use, I've got normal strainers. Show you that's easy. So that would probably make more sense with that. And that's yeah, we'll get this organised. I'll grab my mask, put some gloves on, double check everything in there, and then I'll try and put you on time lapse. I will be back. Right, I think we're there. That took a lot of time, hence the wetness. So it's all base coated now. Looks darker on this camera. I'll show you a bit more detailed in a minute. I've been looking all over the place for my aluminium TIG rods. I've just found them, so somebody's poking their head through the booth window. Right, so we'll get some clear on these, and then I'll show you again. Bye for now. Right, hopefully that looks loads better. Just try to load more settings again. So we're still in the booth. We've given the paint a little bake just to set it up for the night. There's no point giving it a full bake, it's not going anywhere today. It's 5 o'clock, so it's nearly home time. Right, where are we? Still roasting here. So you can see here, these are the bumper trims. Bumper trim and door trim, actually, I should say. So we've got the tailgate. These look a lot brighter to me than they do through this lens, so I'll have to see what they look like anyway. So you can roughly see. So we've painted all the edges, all the bits that you might see, and basically just flicked over the middle. Don't spend a lot of time on the middle, nobody's ever going to see it, so it's only us really. So spoiler, you can see that. It does look really dark on here for some reason. Might be setting. You can see anyway. So we've got front bumper, the whiz round there. So you can see that now. We've got wings, a couple of little bits to flat and polish, usual thing, which will all be done when it's back on the car. We don't tend to worry too much about it at this stage. It's all going to be flat and polished anyway. That's what a customer wanted. So these are the rear quarter ones, these are the rear bumper ones. That's the rear bumper there, so you can see. This is the Meeper. For those of you that are actually interested in the other side of things, it's the Meeper CX4 we've used, with a HS25 clear. Basically, I think it, I'm just trying to remember the data sheet now. I think it lamps at, there we go. I think it lamps at, I'm sure it's 20 minutes or 30 minutes at 60 Celsius. But again, this is going to be sitting in here overnight, and I don't want to force it dry just for the sake of it. There's no need. We're not going to be wailing on it first thing in the morning or anything like that, so we might just put the bumpers back together so we haven't got as much stuff laying around, and then we'll just put them somewhere out of the way. The actual car itself will we'll probably do a 2-part video. So the car itself, the actual shell if you like, we'll probably do that as part 2. And then when it's all back together, we'll do like a little walk round thing. So that'll be like the 3rd if you like. So these are all painted. I'll just show you quickly. These are all clear coated and everything in here. This is what I was on about earlier. You can see they're the worst areas to get affected. Water and all the leaves and all the crap sits on them, and then they just sit there and sit there and sit there, and eventually they just start rotting through. And the first thing you know is you think you've got a bit of rust. And you have got a bit of rust, to be fair. I've got crap all over my face. You have got a bit of rust, but if you try and deal with it from the outside, it's already rotten from the inside out. So it's a complete waste of time. So which is why it's pretty much a new wing every time. And there's only certain cars really that, unless they're damaged, certain Golfs, these. There's a couple of Audis as well, I think it was, but it's just so much easier. 2 new wings, blend the doors. Sometimes we'll tie in a front bumper if we have to, bonnet worst case, depending on colour and colour match. Yeah, and I'm waffling anyway, we're talking about a polo, aren't we? So yeah, so you can just see, got a lovely gloss level on it. It really is good stuff, that Maper CX4. I'm very, I like it a lot. But Forrest Gump then, wasn't it? So yeah, any flats and polish is nice as well, which is good. So this should give him what he's after, what the customer's after. Right, on that note, I'm going to leave this to settle overnight and I'm going to go home. We'll probably call this part 1, so I'll say bye now. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Need to remember to say that. And we'll get a load of footage and try and do a bit more again with the shell, and that'll be part 2. Right, bye for now. See you safe. See you soon even.